Welcome to Intel on AI, the podcast that connects listeners with leaders. My name is Heather, and I will be your host. Today's guest is Ryan Asdourian. Ryan is the EVP and Chief Marketing Officer at Lumen Technologies. He is a self-professed device geek who is seeking ways to create technology to suit its user across every employment sector. Lumen Technologies focuses on creativity and innovation for limitless advancement in AI. Ryan also recently celebrated his 1-year anniversary with the company. Ryan, welcome to Intel on AI.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather, for having me. It's great to be here.
So we have a huge amount of topics to get through. It's really, really exciting. So I'm going to dive right in if you're ready.
Great. Let's do it.
Great. So this feels like an understatement. AI is transforming industries at an unprecedented rate. I feel like by the time we finish this podcast, something will be different. But I want to ask, how is Lumen Technologies enabling businesses to build AI-ready infrastructure?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me start by saying what Lumen really does is it connects people, it connects data, it connects applications. We're building this backbone for the AI economy, and we have been rooted in connection for the entire existence of our company, but it is happening at an unprecedented rate, as you said. It's just, we're at this forefront of enabling this AI-ready infrastructure, this multi-cloud infrastructure. And so this is really how we have thought about our place in the world. We have this private connectivity fabric. It's designed for AI workloads. It helps companies understand how they can build these high-capacity, low-latency connections. And we are really focused on how we connect the world in this AI world, which is creating all sorts of new infrastructure and connectivity needs. So we're really focused on making sure companies have what they need, from hyperscalers to enterprises and to building these AI networks.
Amazing. Now, when we talk about being at the forefront of edge computing and private connectivity, how do these technologies support AI-driven applications?
Yeah, when you're thinking about these AI-driven applications, in the first phase, you have really these hyperscalers and data centers connecting between them. As you think about kind of that edge computing space and where enterprises are going to need these AI-driven applications, you think about things like data management. You think about the talent that's building them, the system integration of all of them. And then where does that data sit? Where is the data resident? Where, do you have the right sovereignty? Do you have the right PII? All of those things become really, really important. Now, what our network does, it enables companies, from small companies to hyperscalers, to understand how they can build this AI specific networking. And they have to think about things like latency, things about real-time decision making, where you might have the fastest path changing in real time, and you need to make sure that all of the things in the cloud are connected. When you think about crucial industries like autonomous vehicles, healthcare, manufacturing, financial services, when you can inference and have the edge there as well, you can have quicker deployment, you can have quicker integration of technologies, and that allows you to be on the forefront of AI.
Now, AI is only as powerful as the data it processes. So far, can't create its own, but we'll see what happens by the end of this podcast. How does Lumen Technologies help business to optimize their data movement and security for these AI applications?
Yeah. Okay. So we want to make sure it's your data. You need to have it your way. And we try to give you all the flexibility that you need to make your AI applications work in the way that you design them. Now, our private connectivity fabric, that is the thing that's going to offer you fast, reliable, high capacity connections. And that's going to let you choose, kind of like I was saying before, the right path in the right way so that you're getting that high bandwidth, low latency. Security, when we talk about Lumen as the trusted network for AI, that trusted word is really important when we think about cyber, we have Lumen Defender for internet on demand, and that is seeing a lot of what's happening across network traffic and helps stop cyber threats in real time. So really, we're focused on empowering businesses to fully utilize AI and do it in a safe way so they can meet all their innovation and goals.
So it's kind of like Burger King. You want to have it your way.
Yeah, we sometimes talk about that, yes. The customer experience is at the center of everything that we do. The customer experience is the product. We have to make sure as we're delivering this high bandwidth connectivity, customers are getting it their way.
Absolutely. Just a couple minutes earlier, you mentioned about AI in the cloud. If you could be more specific about what role does high-speed, low-latency connectivity play in making AI more effective?
It's everything. It's essential. It is table stakes for great AI performance. And if you think back, even 25 years ago, the needs for the internet have not changed dramatically. AI has changed that entire game. And data needs to find fiber quickly because that is what's going to help you get to this high performance, high speed, low latency connectivity that AI not only needs, it demands. And when you think about our extensive fiber network, that is making sure that a lot of those connections are available and that they're reliable. Now, on the edge computing side, you also have to bring that data together. You have to protect the data. You have to enable it for real-time decisions. And you see this in all sorts of industries, but you want to get to not only the cloud, you need to get to multi-cloud, and you need to get there fast across different regions. And so in order to do that, you need to rethink the way your network is built and the way that your enterprise is served. And that's really what Private Connectivity Fabric is about. It's the reference architecture that allows customers to build it in the way that they need for AI.
As we've learned and as we've seen so much technology come into play in our lives, we sort of see it as being a separate sort of thing that I use.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious about how AI is actually going to change the human. So how do you see AI reshaping business roles and skills in the coming years?
Yeah, well, I really believe that, AI is enhancing all employees' ability to be productive. It's transferring operations, it's driving efficiencies. And when we think about tools, you want tools that are not only going to change the trajectory of what you can do, but they're also going to be integral to our culture. They're going to be part of the way that people work. We use Copilot 365. We use GitHub. All of these are integral to our culture, and you use them every single day. C-suite executives, AI ethics officers, AI product managers. All of these people, they've got to make these informed decisions. We have to make sure you ensure responsible AI is, you're using it in that way. And you have to have the strategy. It also involves training employees when you need an AI literacy and upskilling program, because you want people to also get the most out of these tools, just like they would any other app or tool on your PC. This is really about how AI can help transform in different ways. And our network is the backbone of that. It helps customers respond to all of these AI advancements in real time and get the most out of these tools.
Nice. I want to talk a little more about AI at the edge, which I can't, every time I've mentioned it and read about it, I feel like we're talking about you two, who is also so cool. And I want to go let's talk about the edge. And he was the coolest guy. So I guess that kind of connects. Which industries or applications do you see benefiting the most from edge AI infrastructure?
There are a couple standouts that I think about, when you're thinking about how is that really going to benefit you. You can think about the way autonomous vehicles rely on instant AI processing for safety. If you have, an EV or any sort of car that has some self-driving functionality, you've seen this happen where it is reacting in real time and it has to be instant. Human safety is on the line. Manufacturing uses this. They get real-time sensor data analytics that will help with predictive maintenance. That's changing the economics of manufacturing companies. Healthcare is something I'm really passionate about. You need these AI insights. You also need these incredibly large data sets. Something personal from me. I live with multiple sclerosis, and I'm on the board for the MS Society. We talk about all the time how we need all of this data to understand autoimmune diseases and how we can build cures for them. And healthcare is benefiting from not only these fast AI insights, but these broad, data sets that need to connect across the world. And then if you think about retail is using AI for personalized customer experiences, and fraud prevention. Like both of these really focus in here, and it changes the way retailers can get customers to the products they think they want, and customers can also get to the products that they want in the right way. And so whether it is the vehicles, manufacturing, the healthcare, the retail, what we see on the future of like humanoid robots and where they have a place, all of these things are a place where Lumen sees the ability to help those partners rapidly deploy and support the technology that they are driving against.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you talk about multiple sclerosis, when you talk about living with something every day and knowing, if I knew other people's experiences, if we could connect this data, if we could combine all of these little pieces to come together, we can all start to move forwards about how we can help daily comfort in terms of these situations. I also feel personally about that technology. It is something that I'm also excited to see the advancement on.
The special things about that is, as you think about, healthcare has a lot of regulations, but when we talk about a trusted network and a trusted AI, ethical AI, you have to get people comfortable with what the technology can do in a positive way. And so there's different diseases, but then I also think about MRI scans and all of that data of millions of people. If they choose to subscribe to that and share their data, then you can suddenly have different ways to process on a much larger scale and learn in ways that this world has never learned before. And I think that can help us really improve healthcare for the masses.
And that does lead us back to that human connectivity. When you go, this isn't just data, this is a person's experience that's similar to mine. And I didn't have access to their data, to their feelings, to their experience. And now I have millions of people experiencing these same things that I do. You start to feel connected because of that data advancement.
100%. And these real world use cases, they can help benefit the healthcare. They can also, or the health system, if you will. It's beyond just the diseases. It's about, what does a patient think about for their the outcomes that they want? What are the costs that they have to pay? If you think about all of that analysis, if you can do that faster, you can also reduce patient costs, hospital costs, put more money into research. And same thing, I talked about vehicles, manufacturing, and healthcare and retail. But like if you think about the idea of what manufacturing can really do, when you start doing that predictive maintenance and you think about the automation, suddenly you get more time back to build an efficiency to your products, to increase the product quality. And this is where I think AI really helps our world to think about how we can do more with the time that we have and the resources that we have.
Amazing. Now we are on a podcast for Intel. So I'm wondering what kinds of partnerships that Lumen is currently working on with Intel to advance AI capabilities.
Yeah, well, we talk about the edge, and we've talked about the edge a lot. I think, one of the things I'm coming to you right now on a Surface device powered by Intel. And I love what that gives me. I mean, from the device to the capabilities to getting to use the tools that are not only connected to the cloud, but then on the edge and the endpoint of how that comes together. It's something that, we've got in spades across our company, so that as we start to deploy these, we're able to use the processors that are at the edge to really go and make sure we're able to use the new technology. We're also able to use it in a protected and safe way. And, that's one of the partnerships we rely on in a very deep way.
Now, I want to come back. We've mentioned a couple of times the topic of security, and I want to just give a little more time and opportunity to really delve into that topic, because with growth comes the concern of security across every industry, across every advancement.
Yeah.
So how does Lumen help organizations to ensure that their AI-driven data flows are secure and resilient?
Yeah, if I go back to the trusted network for AI and the word trusted in there, where does that come from and where do we get the validation from that? We have a division called Black Lotus Labs. It's our threat intelligence arm. And really, it's focused on detecting and stopping cyber threats. Now, what is really interesting about Black Lotus Labs is the information that they get to see. We say, we see more and we're able to stop more because we're looking at the network flow data of our entire network. And so you want to use that to identify and then disrupt what those significant threats can be. We're using AI for automated protection. We're using it for threat. In fact, just as last year, we were recognized as the 2024 Cybersecurity Breakthrough Threat Intelligence Company of the Year, which we're really proud of. But it's because we're able to see what's happening across the network, and so much of AI relies on the network. AI needs data needs data centers need connectivity, and that data has to find that fiber fast. So we take our role very seriously, not to only connect, but to protect.
Amazing. I think technology, we mentioned earlier, I have kids, you have kids, they're embracing this technology so quickly. The concept that it's just there and they go, okay, great, this does this, how? Great, good, great. I want to talk a little more, maybe about some of the old dogs of the industry. The people who are a little more wary or a little more hesitant about how this technology gets integrated into their workplaces, when the feeling is, we're fine. The way that we've been doing it is fine. I don't think I need to change. So as this technology continues to evolve, what advice would you give for C-suite leaders looking to integrate AI into their operations effectively that has economic value?
The good news is on our kids adopting AI, they are the future C-suite leaders here over the world. And you see the way also, all kids are picking this technology up so quickly, it will just become natural. And if you're hesitating to it, I kind of think about it in the constant for many, many years, like, for as long as businesses have been around, is that business goals will always push further and faster ahead so that businesses can thrive. When you think about how you can align your AI objectives to those business goals, you're not choosing, do I adopt AI or do I not adopt AI? You're choosing to say, am I going to meet and exceed my business goals? And am I going to take this company to the next level? To do that, you've got to have the AI ready infrastructure with the right technology stack. It's the foundation. And you've got to prioritize building that now so that you can be ready for the fast disruption that is already happening. It's hard to even fathom that it was like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, when you started to see what was happening with OpenAI, LLMs, Gen AI in different ways. It has happened very quickly, and the pace of it is not slowing down. So, for any business leader, it's really about aligning your AI objectives with the business goals, because that's going to help you figure out how you're going to make the right prioritization calls. You have to have the right data quality. Great data in equals great data out. You got to have the right accessibility. You got to make sure all users are empowered with it. And you got to have the right security. And so you really want to think about how you can get these tools out there, test them, deploy them, understand how that might affect any existing systems. But the truth is, these systems are evolving so rapidly, and their purpose is to help our employees move our business goals forward faster. And that's the game changer that we're all here for as business leaders. So, let's go.
Yeah, that's such a great answer. It becomes that feeling of moving forwards rather than catching up.
Yeah.
And I think you've done such a great job of explaining that the desire behind the why and how we advance and why I want to advance and what my business goals are the ways that I think your technology becomes malleable.
Yeah.
And it really, really becomes to suit the individual business rather than here's a thing, make it work within your company. And it's really kind of the opposite way of thinking.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I want to thank you for coming on the show today. This was a really amazing conversation. And I loved how much you kept bringing it back to the human connectivity and the human need to feel better, to connect with each other, to build our businesses together. But ultimately, all of those words became together, us, we, feel. It was really, really powerful when technology feels like such an autonomous, separate thing from ourselves. So I want to thank you for that angle and for the work that Lumen is doing. So thank you, all of our listeners. This was Ryan Asdourian. You can find him on all platforms, including LinkedIn, which was really fabulous. I really enjoyed reading some of your articles. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Heather.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Visit intel.com/AI to learn more.